Hey everybody, it's been a long time coming, and well, not really that long compared to some other series, of course, but it's been a long time, and it's time. It is the end. This is the finale, the final part to What If Naruto Had Anti-Chakra. Now, thank you guys for coming along for the ride, and I hope you guys enjoy the ending of the story, of my story, to What If Naruto Did Possess Anti-Chakra. And if you guys do like what I got going on, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you can catch all the future series to come as well. If you are new to the channel and just catching this last part, go enjoy the journey and go up here to the top upper right hand corner. You'll find a playlist that has all the previous parts of the series, so you can hit that and then catch up and get back to this video. Anyway, let's just get into it. The finale for part 13 of What If Naruto Had Anti-Chakra. A rumbling would shake the village, as we can hear Naruto's frustration against Hidan increasing. Why won't it die? We see Naruto pulsating with anti-chakra, hitting Hidan over and over again, ripping him limb from limb. With Hidan laughing as he put himself back together, Naruto be frustrated. Naruto at this point had already easily taken out Kakuzu with a simple attack, as he had added and used mimicry natures of anti-chakra in order to burn Kakuzu away, simply deleting all of his hearts in a single attack. But Hidan was causing him some problems. This is the first enemy Naruto's faced that can't be killed using normal means, which is Naruto's only means, to be exact. Hidan in his hubris would then explain to Naruto his idiocy, explaining how he worships the god Jashin, a god who only asks his followers to bring one thing to him: death. As he asks for destruction of others, and the sacrifices of lives in order to appease him. And that is how I can maintain my immortality forever. Even if my chakra is completely drained, my jutsu ingrained deep in my body, in my very soul from Jashin, will keep me sustained. Nothing can kill me, you idiot! So, you think simply because I can't kill you doesn't mean I can't make you die? Naruto would say, his eyes now lighting up as he begins to charge more anti-chakra from both himself and the Black Ninetales power. If you're immortal, this is gonna hurt like hell, Naruto would say. What are you doing? Hidan would say, his arm now recovering as he begins to attach it back to his body. Naruto would grab Hidan in one arm as he begins to buff it up, enhancing it using his synchronization, turning half of his arm into the Ninetales black arm, now larger and larger. He began to spin Hidan around as he then throws him into the air. Naruto would use a Bijou Bomb as he blasted towards the ground, sending himself flying into the air. Naruto would then use his anti-chakra to repel himself from the ground as he reverses its polarity, similar to what he does against nature energy inside of a tree. Naruto, using this property of anti-chakra, would send him flying up into the air as he then punches Hidan in the gut as he goes flying higher and higher. What are you doing? Hidan would say. Hidan would begin to try and scratch at Naruto's back with his scythe, but it would do nothing. The calluses, scratches, and scarred over tissue was already so damaged and hardened together that from all those hours of torture Naruto had endured that he didn't feel a thing. As Naruto climbed higher and higher into the sky, Naruto would then use one final attack. Yamianshin! Naruto would pull his arm back as he creates a massive Yamianshin. Huge. So big in fact that the entire light in the sky over the leaf village becomes dark for a split second, like an eclipse. Sasuke would look outside as he sees a massive ball of anti-chakra. Naruto would thrust his hand upward and a palm strike directly into Hidan's chest, as Hidan's completely engulfed in the anti-chakra. Naruto would then add some fire release mimicry as well as some wind release mimicry of anti-chakra into the ball, as he then lets it go as the Yamianshin flies higher and higher into the sky, almost disappearing. As Hidan's about to fall back to the ground, he says, "This won't kill me, you know." Naruto says, "I'm not planning on killing you," as he then squeezes fists together. Suddenly, an explosion can be heard, as Hidan would get blasted out of the atmosphere and into space. Sent out of the planet's gravitational range, Hidan could only do one thing: slowly freeze over and over again, as his body couldn't move. The gravitational forces of space being too strong, Hidan would only die over and over again before coming back to life from Jashin's power, suffocating without air. he would live in eternal torture until he would die eventually from starvation, similar to what Shikamaru had done in the original. As Naruto begins to land back towards the ground, he would throw a kunai and then bite his thumb, using the reversal technique of summoning as he lands back to the ground completely unharmed. Sasuke would be shocked that Naruto had arrived so quickly. If Orochimaru's here too, then... He would be worried, thinking that Naruto might have already set up that border jutsu, not realizing that the Akatsuki had inadvertently protected the leaf long enough for the threat to be averted. Sasuke would tell Jiraiya and Tsunade they need to get everyone out of the leaf immediately. Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and Tsunade would all agree, as they would then begin to prepare evacuations, as the entire leaf village would begin to move out. Sasuke would say he'll handle Naruto. Jiraiya put a hand on his shoulder, saying he'll come with him, as he can use Sage Mode too. We can talk to Naruto together and figure this out. Sasuke would be thinking in his head, I don't know if we'll be doing much talking, but I want to try. Sasuke would tell Jiraiya this, and the two would head out. Tsunade and Hiruzen would then escort the rest of the villagers out, as Hiruzen would then trail behind, slowly beginning to follow after Jiraiya and Sasuke. Jiraiya would tell Sasuke to let him go first, telling him that he'll talk to Naruto alone, seeing if maybe he can bring Naruto back to his senses. Be careful, Jiraiya-sensei. Orochimaru, he did something to Naruto. There's a seal implanted on him somehow. He must have figured out how to use reversal-type sealing like the 4th Hokage was able to. Jiraiya would give Sasuke a thumbs up, saying he'll do his best, as he pats Sasuke on the shoulder, saying, wait for him here, as Sasuke would watch from afar. Naruto would be walking towards the Leaf Village, thinking about seeing his friends again, as suddenly Master Jiraiya would walk in front of him. Naruto! Naruto would look up now, breaking out of his daydreaming. Pervy Sage? Is that you? Naruto would say, laughing. Jiraiya would be shocked seeing Naruto, and after hearing what he had done, this is not the voice of someone who killed an entire village and killed Kakashi. Naruto. Naruto! Jiraiya would clap his hands together as Naruto would then refocus back on him, his eyes having gone hollow for a second, almost staring off into some other plane. Huh? What is it, Pervy Sage? Jiraiya would then talk in a calm voice. Where do you think Kakashi Hatake is? Naruto would be puzzled, not realizing what he might mean, as he asked Jiraiya what exactly he means. He's in the Leaf Village, right? Or probably on some mission somewhere with the rest of everyone. How's Sasuke and Sakura doing? And is everyone okay? Naruto would ask in a lighthearted tone. No, Jiraiya would say. Naruto. Naruto would look up to Jiraiya, wondering what's going on. Jiraiya would gulp, as he prepares to say the words, catching them in his throat. Naruto, You killed Kakashi. The beating in Naruto's chest would stop as his heart stopped, skipping a beat, then another one, and then a third, before it begins pulsing again, faster. What do you mean? Jiraiya, I haven't seen Kakashi since I left 3 years ago, Naruto would say, clenching his fists together. You're wrong. You're lying. I would never do that to Kakashi-sensei. Naruto would see images of Kakashi in his mind, training at the bell tests, everything that happened during the Land of Waves, the Chunin exams, and so on. No, you're lying. No, I know. Naruto's eyes would begin to turn black, as the seal from Orochimaru would begin to react against Naruto's panic, as Naruto's heart began to calm back down again. You're not Jiraiya. You're another one of those fakes, Naruto would say. Jiraiya would be shocked seeing his godson turned out like this. Minato, Kushina, I'm so sorry, Jiraiya would say. I failed. Naruto would move forward at blinding speed, Jiraiya barely able to enter imperfect Sage mode as he had already luckily summoned the two toads beforehand. Naruto would then create a Yamayanshin, as Jiraiya would create a Rasengan, the two clashing as an explosion can be heard. Jiraiya would get blasted back, his Sage Jutsu not being perfected, meaning that Naruto's Anti-Chakra has a slight edge over it. Naruto would laugh, saying that Jiraiya was always stronger than him, even back then. We can see images of young Naruto and Jiraiya training back before the Chunin exams. I'll have to kill you and then find the real Jiraiya, Naruto would say. Naruto would suddenly teleport, using the same technique that Jiraiya had taught him, as he's about to pierce the Yamayanshin directly into the frogs and Jiraiya's back. For Jiraiya, seemingly time would stop, as Jiraiya would then begin to have a flashback of his life, laughing at how ironic it was that he would see all of it before it ended. Jiraiya would see images of Nagato, Konan, the Great Wars, him and the Sannin, him training as a young child with the third Hokage. He would see him training Minato, him with Naruto, him with everyone. Jiraiya would begin to close his eyes, accepting his fate, as a scroll in his mind began to close on his story. I won't lose you too, Sasuke would say. Before Naruto's Yamauchi can make impact, Jiraiya be moved out of the way by black flames, pushing Jiraiya out of the way, as they then deactivate, with Sasuke using the black flames of the Amaterasu, controlling them to push Jiraiya out of the way, faster than Naruto could react. You, Naruto would turn. Sasuke would have tears in his eyes, the last final hope that Naruto could have been brought back having been completely shattered. He would then tell Naruto, I'm not going to become the hero of the village. I never wanted to be to begin with. I was supposed to be the Avenger. I was going to kill Itachi, avenge my clan. I was going to save myself. But you, Naruto, you changed all that. Shut up, Naruto would say. Jiraiya, get out of here, Sasuke would say. Naruto, you know where we're going, right? Naruto's eyes begin to twitch as he tells Sasuke he has no idea what he's talking about. Sasuke would activate Sage Mode as he begins running through the forest. Get back here! Naruto began chasing after Sasuke using KCM and catching up to Sasuke in terms of speed as the two begin fighting in the forest. We're not there just yet, Sasuke would say. As Sasuke would dodge, evade, and with him and Naruto moving at such fast speeds would eventually arrive. You already know where this is. The place where it begins and where it ends. The final valley. Sasuke would land on the side of Hashirama Senju as Naruto came charging at him. Sasuke would kick Naruto in the gut using a bicycle kick as he then launches Naruto all the way over to the other side, Naruto clawing as he lands on top of Madara Uchiha's head. The two face each other as we see something that happened in another world.
One bad move, and I could have been like you and devised some terrible plan. I used to think that I didn't have any bonds with anyone either, till I met you. You know, Sasuke, there's a chance. Our roles could have been reversed.
Naruto, I said I'm going to not become the hero of the village. As Sasuke squeezes his fist. And you're not going to be the villain either. I'm not going to let it happen. Not after everything you've done. Your kindness. I won't let them see you like that. You were both going to go down. Together. What are you saying? Naruto would say. The only one here is going to die is you. Naruto would be in an immense rage as the stone atop Madara Uchiha's head would crack. Sasuke would look up as he activates the Mangekyo Sharingan. Then we'll die together. I could have ended up just like you, Sasuke would say. In Sasuke's hand, the Chidori. In Naruto's hand, the Rasengan. In Naruto's hand, the Chidori. In Sasuke's hand, the Rasengan. The two weapons interchanging, two fates intertwining. As Sasuke and Naruto's fates were about to clash for one last time. Sage Mode style. Mangekyo Sharingan. Sasuke, who hasn't overused his Mangekyo Sharingan yet, is able to use Susanoo along with Amaterasu, and though it will cause blinding, Sasuke will be able to manage it one last time. In Sasuke's head we can hear, Itachi, sorry, but you're not my goal anymore. I'm not gonna be the one to see you for your last time. Someone else will have the honor of taking you down. My fight ends here. Sasuke would smile as he closes his eyes, a genuine smile. Naruto would be shocked and take a step back. What are you smiling for? He would say. Because, Sasuke would say, you're my friend. Something would resonate between Naruto and Sasuke. As Naruto would only hear pain, he could feel himself. The urge that he's had for so long to protect Sasuke would disappear. The last thing driving him, the last thing keeping him sane. Sasuke doesn't need my protection anymore. Naruto would go all out, accessing KCM2 as he goes into his full speed anti-chakra mode, throwing the kunai and teleporting directly in front of Sasuke. Sasuke would block the blow using Sage Jutsu inverted inside of his Susanoo. This powerful armor being against Naruto's speed would be a fair match. Naruto would be pounding on the Susanoo's ribs as cracks would begin to appear. Sasuke then created a Sage-enhanced Chidori as he slashes at Naruto's arm, causing a cut on it. That's nothing, Naruto would say, as Naruto heals himself with KCM. Naruto and Sasuke's clash would begin to cause earthquakes and rumblings across the mountainside. Meanwhile, elsewhere, we can see on both halves of the side, we see Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Hiruzen, wondering what could be going on. Naruto and Sasuke continue their battle, communicating for the first time as equals, through their fists. Sasuke would be able to talk to Naruto through this way. It's been so many years, Sasuke would think, and I finally caught up to you. As Sasuke would then create the Amaterasu, he would cover his blade, a sword, as he creates one out of Susanoo's ribs, creating a bone sword. Covering with the Amaterasu, he'd slash at Naruto, who'd block with his own katana, as the two blades clash, causing sparks to fly. Suddenly, Naruto would create an Anti-Chakra shadow clone, and Sasuke would have to block with his other arm, feeling the impact on the blow, as he was focusing most of his Susanoo into his attack. Damn, Sasuke would say. Sasuke would then use Amaterasu Flame Control, as he uses an attack shooting flames towards the shadow clone and causing it to burst, causing Anti-Chakra to spew everywhere, as plants and trees would die. Sasuke and Naruto would be fighting each other at full power at this point, not any of them pulling their punches, as Naruto and Sasuke would be getting bloodied up. Sasuke would throw a punch as its impact hits Naruto's elbow. Naruto would feel a crunch in his bones from Sasuke's pure Sage Mode enhanced strength. Naruto would extend hands from the Dark Nine-Tails cloak as they grab at Sasuke's throat. Sasuke would take his blade as he slices them in half using the Susanoo's blade, as he then began to actually perfect the Susanoo mid-battle. Flesh and muscles begin to form over the Susanoo, as Sasuke and Naruto would enter into their larger beast state, as Naruto would transform into the dark nine-tailed fox. A menacing roar could be heard over the land. Meanwhile, elsewhere, as the battle intensifies at the final battle at the end, the Akatsuki, more specifically Madara, are talking what their plan is from going forward. Orochimaru would have notified them already, telling them that their little plan to revive the Ten Tails wasn't going to be happening anytime ever, since the Nine Tails chakra that was now all inside of Naruto had been completely converted into something much harder to deal with. And Orochimaru would be correct, with the Ten Tails reviving with only Kinkaku and Ginkaku's power being nowhere near as strong as it would need to be in order to enact the infinite Tsukuyomi. Itachi would be wondering where this was going, as Orochimaru would then convey through his message to the Akatsuki, saying he had a little deal in mind. I will revive the Nine Tails, Orochimaru would say. However, in exchange, I will be taking Itachi, and his body will become my vessel. Immediately. Itachi would already know what this means. If exchange for the Nine Tails could be made that easily with just sacrificing one of their last three members, well, aside from Zetsu, Madara was definitely going to make that deal. Kisame and the rest of the Akatsuki that was left would turn towards Itachi, as Itachi would already know his fate. As both Zetsu, White and Black Zetsu, and Obito, and Kisame would all attack Itachi at the same time. Be sure not to spoil the goods, Obito would tell Kisame and Black Zetsu, as the Zetsus would attack Itachi. Itachi would easily burn them away using Amaterasu, as he would activate his Susanoo, blocking most of the attacks. Obito would then come in using Kamui, as he would then warp away himself from existence as he returns behind Itachi's back, using a Phoenix Flower Flame Jutsu and burning the Susanoo from the back, while Kisame would use Water Jutsu from the front. Meanwhile, away from the filler fight, we can see Sasuke and Naruto battling, now in the sky. Sasuke having access to his perfect Susanoo, and his eyes having started to bleed. Sasuke could feel himself getting higher and higher, his chakra rising and rising, his power growing and growing, while Naruto's would be doing the same. Naruto's KCM would have access to his no Senkakurama mode, as he accesses the Nine Tails form and is now in the air, floating using Anti-Chakra and pushing off with the nature energy, while Sasuke's wings would hold him in flight, as the two clashed through the air. Sasuke would move forward at blinding speed, slashing with his Susanoo blade, Anti-Chakra and Chakra meeting. Naruto! Sasuke! As Naruto and Sasuke charge each other, Naruto and Sasuke both have things they're fighting for. Naruto, a beast wounded, kept in a cage. Someone who had the hope of the village on him, the hope of his friends. Someone who would follow his ninja to the very end. Someone broken. Then there was Sasuke, an anti-hero who had been forced to make the main hero. Naruto had left a burden, an empty hole for Sasuke to fill, and Sasuke had been training to fill that hole, protect everyone in the Leaf Village, and get stronger. Kakashi. Sasuke would see Kakashi in his mind. I'll be seeing you really soon. As Sasuke closes his eyes and Naruto does the same, the two would now be holding hands, inside the light, as we see the two of them back when they were children, making the sign of friendship, the sign of unity, from back during the academy. Chidori! Yamianchin! As the two clash for one final last time, they see this image in their mind, as the two would then faint from their consciousness. A massive explosion from both Anti-Chakra and Chakra, Sage Chakra colliding, would cause the entire Valley of the End to break apart, be deatomized and destroyed. There wouldn't be anything left, as both Naruto and Sasuke's energies would have completely disappeared. Just before the explosion had destroyed the entire final valley, the final Valley of the End, we would see one last thing. Sasuke, his eyes hollow, the Mangekyo Sharingan faded, as his hand would be pierced through Naruto's heart, covered with the Chidori and the last of his Sage Mode energy. And through Naruto's hand we would see Anti-Chakra pulsing, the Yamianchin like a heartbeat, ripped through Sasuke's internal organs, as the light leaves both of their eyes and the two completely disappear. Suddenly Hinata and Sakura would look up from where they were, having thought that they just felt something weird. Sakura and Hinata would feel a hand on their shoulders as they turn around, both at the same time, and just a brush of wind, and the smell of lightning, the smell of rain, would pass them, as wind would brush through their hair. Hinata and Sakura would realize something happened, as they run over to Tsunade, Jiraiya, and the third Hokage, asking where Naruto and Sasuke were, what happened. Little did they know that the Fox Boy and the one who had wanted to become an Avenger so long ago had both vanished, their memories and their paths having been erased. No Kurama reviving Naruto, no Sage's six paths saving either of them, just gone. Erased. The way that Anti-Chakra erases Chakra, and Sage Mode returns to the land. Returned to dust. Itachi would feel something in his chest as Sasuke's soul would pass on, away from this world. Itachi would be shocked as he loses composure, and at that very moment would be when Obito and the rest of the Akatsuki would strike, finishing off Itachi and knocking him out. Itachi had been caught off guard from this sensation, not knowing what happened as his younger brother had moved on. Itachi would have been taken to Orochimaru, and Orochimaru would have immediately begun to take over his body, now having taken Itachi's body and used the sealing jutsu in order to now make it his vessel. Orochimaru would have access to the Sharingan now, just as he promised. He would give half of the Nine Tails, completely untainted by Anti-Chakra, to Obito. During the 3 years, Orochimaru had taken half of the Nine Tails, using the Reaper Death Seal jutsu on someone else's body. By using this jutsu, he was able to remove half the Nine Tails from Naruto while he was unconscious, which would mean that if Naruto's Anti-Chakra ever did take over, with Orochimaru obviously seeing the signs of the two vessels fighting, that meant that the Nine Tails' power would not be lost in case it was necessary for the future. What Obito does not know is that the Rinnegan is also in the possession of Orochimaru, and now that Orochimaru has Itachi's body, a wielder of the Mangekyo, he can now have both the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan and the Rinnegan at will. Obito would leave, Itachi's corpse now filled with Orochimaru. Orochimaru was already taken over his vessel and was now trying it out. The Akatsuki wouldn't dare to attack Orochimaru's forces, with Naruto, the Anti-Chakra beast, having been known on their side, and none of them being able to use Sage Jutsu, meaning that they were pretty much helpless against him at that point. What they didn't know is that Naruto was gone. What Orochimaru didn't know is that Naruto was gone. And so, Orochimaru would head over to the Final Valley, expecting that to be the place where Sasuke would have fought Naruto, expecting to find Naruto laughing over Sasuke's corpse. But as Orochimaru approaches the Final Valley, he would hear nothing, he would see nothing. All he would find would be death and destruction, as half of the valley would be covered in dark, dead pine needles, trees, and grass from Naruto's Anti-Chakra, and the other half flourishing with life from Sage energy. Completely two opposites, the quite literal river of death, as you would say, passing to the other side. Orochimaru would concentrate, calling out to the seal to try and talk to Naruto. "Come back," he would whisper. There'd be no response. It was like talking into a void. "There's no way." Orochimaru would be shocked, not realizing. How did he... Orochimaru would fall to his knees, not having expected this outcome to happen. They killed each other. Not even a trace left. That's the only explanation. Orochimaru would be shocked, his plan having now been practically ruined, with him having planned on using Naruto to completely kill off the Nine Tails, as well as the Ten Tails, and finish off the Akatsuki for him. Now, there's only one way. I'll have to use the Rinne Rebirth. As Orochimaru would attempt this, he would attempt to use the Rinne Rebirth on the area, before realizing, as he does so. Their souls, they were completely entrapped in Anti-Chakra. I can't. The Rinnegan, which uses chakra, would have been tainted, as Orochimaru would grab his eye, feeling a burning sensation. I can't reclaim them. They're gone. As all that Orochimaru's response would be the wind howling. The world would fall into disarray. Orochimaru's plan having failed, the Akatsuki would have successfully revived the Ten Tails. It would have been too late, since Obito himself would have gone after Killer Bee in this timeline, taking the Eight Tails by force of his power. With the Ten Tails having been revived, the great nations wouldn't have had enough time to come together to create an alliance and fight and defeat the Ten Tails, and thus the infinite Tsukuyomi would have been affected, covering the entire world, and the Akatsuki would have won, with Madara's plan being successful, as Kaguya and Totsuki would have been revived. Without Naruto and Sasuke, the two saviors of the world, the ones who would have saved the planet and could have stopped this destruction, both gone, the world would fall into darkness, as everyone would close their eyes and fall into eternal sleep. Huh? Naruto would open his eyes as he would lift himself up from the ground, looking around. He would be in a dark room, seeing nothing but bubbles. He'd look up as he sees the ceiling wobbling and waving, like water, a dark ocean. As Naruto pulled himself to his feet, he would see his clothes having been ripped right where Sasuke had pierced him with the Chidori. Naruto would look around, checking his back. He was fully healed and... Wait! Naruto would grab his head as he realizes, I'm back! The seal, it's... As he looks at his back, all the scratches, scars, and marks have been completely healed. Gone. Not even Orochimaru's medical ninjutsu or medical ninja could have treated me. Kabuto said it was impossible. What happened? Is this hell? Naruto would immediately realize all the things he'd done as he falls over and begins to puke, as he feels himself vomiting, his guts feeling like they're on fire. I killed Kakashi! I almost killed Jiraiya! Gaara! Everyone! Naruto would be disgusted with himself, as he has no idea how could I do those things? There's no way. No, this won't do. My new toy needs to be in perfect condition in order for me to use it right. Come on, Naruto, stand back up. Suddenly, Naruto would look up as he sees a strange figure. They'd have blonde hair, and one of their eyes would be dark red. The other one would be golden, almost shimmering in the darkness. As Naruto looks up and finally fully sees the man talking to him, he would see that this guy can't be much older than him, and he's only a few inches taller than him too. Who are you, Naruto would say. Naruto would see the man wearing a frayed purple shirt with a long dark overcoat, and a red scarf frayed and clearly used through wearing over his shoulder and wrapped around his neck, his red eye glowing through the darkness like a beacon. Naruto would attempt to tap into his Anti-Chakra, but as he attempts to do so to create the Yamayanshin, he couldn't feel anything. What? It's gone! Naruto couldn't feel anything. Anti-Chakra, chakra, nothing. Oh, come on, don't be like that. We're gonna have so much fun together, you and me. I need you to do a little job for me. A job? For you? I don't even know who you are. Why should I do anything to help you? Well, for one, I guess I healed you. And also, I think you'll want to. The figure would step into the light as you see his long, tangled hair moving over his face under the water as bubbles continue to rise to the surface. Suddenly, a red symbol would appear under the water. As it moves up, materialization begins to move underneath it. A tube. A glass tube with metal on the sides would... Sasuke! Naruto would see Sasuke's body, with no signs of life, no breathing, nothing, and still the hole in his guts from Naruto's Yamayanshin struck through him. Fix him! You can fix him, right? Naruto would ask. Well, yes, I can, I would say. As I walk forward and greet Naruto, I would then offer him something. Naruto Uzumaki, if you want me to heal your friend and bring him back to life, I'll do that. But I'm going to need you to do a little favor for me. A favor? Naruto would ask me. I then smirk as I look at him into the eyes and tell him, I need you to kill a certain demigod. A god, an angel, and a devil. All the pieces are on the board, So let's play.